Welcome back to the Texas High School Coaches Association Convention and Coaches School. Our coverage continues. I'm Jay Riley with Texas Sports Productions, and I am joined by the head football coach of Clemens, Jared Johnston.
Appreciate
Sometimes
you having me.
I have little gaps in memory and stuff.
You're good.
It's
you've
old
done
age.
a lot. You've done a lot the last couple of days, so I understand.
Jared, it's so great to have you here. You're one of my favorite coaches. You're so candid. You give us the time that we need to help cover your school and your kids. Coming off such a weird and wacky year, you and I talked last night at length about some of the things that you had to do. And someone was telling me a story. I think I heard Scott Linhoff this morning. Last year he asked you, what's the mood of the kids? And you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're behind a mask. They're on a computer. Really having your finger on the pulse of a team, you really learned last year how huge that is.
I tell you what, last year was probably it was the hardest coaching that I've ever had to deal with. And what I realized is, you rely so much on facial expressions. Are you reaching them? Are you getting them? I got them going where I need to get them. And every time you talk to them, all you can see was their eyes. And you could tell a little bit by it, but still, you miss those smiles. You miss everything about it. What I did find out, you put a mask on a kid, it shuts them up. They don't talk. They don't. One of the positives, 0 complaints from the classroom. Nobody talked. Nobody got in trouble. But, you had to wear a mask when you went in the locker room.
Right.
Well, I'm used to our locker room being lively after practice, after games, and everybody's talking and, messing around, having a good time, us, the kids, the coaches. And they walk in that locker room, had to have the mask on the whole time. It was silent. It was weird. It was the weirdest
Kinda
thing
eerie,
I've ever.
huh?
It was just different, But I got to give credit to our kids. They handled the situation the best they could, and still came to practice every day and gave us their all. And so hats off to my assistant coaches. We had 700 kids that came out for strength and conditioning, which meant we had to put out about 180 cones 6 foot apart, and they stayed there in one little spot. Every morning we're putting out 200 cones and taking them down. It was just so different. But
and washing them and all.
Yeah, you couldn't have water. You could. It was just. But we got through it, and you look back on it, and it's one of those things you'll never forget, and hopefully we never have to go through again.
Amen on that. The thing I noticed broadcasting and watching an absolute ton of these games. We did 150 of them last year, so we saw a bunch. The quality of play was still really, really good. You didn't do spring ball, right?
Nope.
Doing the season practices in August were completely different.
Yep.
These kids came out and played some of the best football I've seen.
They did. They gave it their all, and they took advantage of the opportunities. They understood how important getting back and not taking a day off was. When we were finally able to get back. But, you break for spring break, and you have, your weightlifting cycle you're getting ready to go through, and then you have your install, and then all of a sudden you spring ball, and then you go for Thanksgiving for spring break, you never come back. So
didn't plan on that, did you?
No. But, our kids did. They what I told our kids, it's something that we do every day as athletes and coaches, and that's adjust to adversity.
Absolutely.
And,
great point.
So, that's what I hammered home. Since they've been with us as freshmen, we talked about how you're going to handle adversity. This was no different than coming out on a Friday night and all of a sudden they're in a totally different defense and we got to adjust. And so, and every day was like that because you never knew how we were going to have to adjust, who couldn't come to practice, who stayed home, who was sent home. It was all something. I'll never forget game day. Max DeDominico's coming in the locker room for athletics, and I pull him aside. Hey, guess what? You're punting. I have a punter tonight. And he's like, seriously? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right. And he's like, gotcha. But that's
the
the
good
world
thing
we
about
live
Max right there is he can play virtually any position too.
That's the world we live in. But our kids handle the adversity well. It's going to make them a better person down the road, and that's ultimately what we're here for. The ball's going to go flat on everybody one day.
Right.
It's what you learn from this sport and from being in our organization that's going to help you be a better man down the road, and just another sign that we got through it and we made it.
Well, they looked up to you guys too, the coaching staff, obviously leaders on the team, and Scott Linhoff, David Sines on the other side. You guys put together a plan, and you led those other coaches and kids in the right direction. And a ton of credit. You won't do it yourself, so I'm going to give you and David and Scott all the credit in the world for putting that deal together.
Well, and it starts with, it goes way even higher. I mean, it goes to Dr. Ely, our superintendent, who ultimately gave us the green light to start working kids out in the summer. Even though UIL said we could start doing it, you still had to get approval from your school district.
Exactly.
And, and so when he gave us the green light and the school board gave us the green light, we were the first people to be back on campus. Coaches were the first ones back on campus since March. I mean, principals, everybody was still working virtually. Here we are, we're back. And I remember thinking, okay, well, we're going to have summer camp. We got to do all these rules and check temperatures, do all this stuff. Our number is going to be way down. And it was like, we had kids that don't even play athletics that were in our camp. Like, I guess their parents like, get out of the house. It was.
Well, they needed some contact.
I mean, we had 700 kids. 700
That's
kids.
Incredible.
I mean, it was crazy. Compared, like this year, we're back to our normal, about 360, 380 kids for strength and conditioning. Last year, 700. I mean, we had kids. I'm like, what sport do you play? I don't. Well, come
Tuba.
on. Come on. Come on. Get out, exercise.
That's
and,
great. That's great.
So, but, it starts, it starts at the top with our superintendent, being able to trust us to do the right thing. And so, I found out, I was the lead contact tracer for, at the beginning. There was nobody on campus. It was me. So here we are.
You were the SCUC NSA.
Oh, man. It was. But we don't do anything by ourselves. And our school district and SCUC ISD, I've been part of it. Now I think I'm going to start my 17th year at SCUC.
Wow.
To be able to I understand they're in it for kids, and they trust us to do right by kids, and that's what we try to do.
Well, let's talk about those kids.
Okay.
One of the disappointing things of this upcoming season getting going, one of my favorite players of all time was Max DeDominico.
Right.
I don't want to say was. He
Right.
still is.
Right.
I mean, just a pure athlete, a kid that went and gave it his all. He's off to Navy. Is that true?
Army.
Army. A West Point
Right.
appointee is just fantastic.
Right.
So you got to fill that spot now.
I do.
And you guys are a pseudo factory over there. You got a lot of great athletes coming through there, but Max DeDominico is a once in a generation. He's
Correct.
a generational talent.
Correct.
But you feel good about the one you got coming in.
I do. I do. Ben Pruski right now is scheduled to be our starter. Ben's been a quarterback since the 7th grade. He was our 7th grade quarterback or 8th grade quarterback. He was our freshman quarterback. Our sophomore year, he was our JV starting quarterback. Well, his junior year, he's not going to be our starting quarterback. We have Max DeDominico. So, we moved him to receiver just to get him under the lights, to get him some experience and some playing time. He's never played receiver, but he's a kid. He's a smart kid. He's an all-A student, and he's a bigger kid. He's about 6'2", 6'3", about 195, 200 pounds. He's going to bring something different,
And you said last night he's got room to grow.
He does.
He's got the frame to put on some more.
He can be. He's a big kid, and plays baseball for us. Starts for us in baseball, and our deal with him is he's got to, what he's got to understand is he's not Max DeDominico, and don't try to be Max DeDominico.
Right.
Be Ben Pruski, and the same conversation I had to explain to Max. You're not Frank Harris. Don't try to be Frank Harris. And when you have such dynamic quarterbacks, and I've been blessed to have two of I consider the best that's come through the city, with Max and Frank. They watch the other ones grow, and they want to be like them. And you got to be yourself. And when you come to that, and you realize that, you're in a position. We're putting you in a position to be successful. Just be you, and that's what he's got to do.
Well, looking forward to seeing him play as well, because I can tell you're excited about him.
I am.
And if you are, then I know the kid's going to be able to play.
Yes, sir.
The other thing you guys are known for is a tenacious defense.
Right.
Now, my favorite game from last year, as far as the excitement level, Clemens Wagner. 53-52. I know that one hurts. Still hurts right now.
I'm gonna give Wagner. They beat us and they beat Smith and Valley in overtime.
Right.
And credit to Wagner and Coach Bruce and those guys and what they did. But yeah, that was a tough one.
So when I talk about tenacious defense, then the next sentence I say you gave up 53.
Exactly.
That's a special, and that offense that Charlie Bruce ran over there just had to keep you awake at night.
Well,
number one.
And we could never get them out of what they did. And I go back and I think about that game, and we fumble the opening kickoff.
Right.
They run 2 plays and score.
You were down in a hurry.
We're down 7-0. They kick off to us. First play, offensive play, we fumble. The very next play they score. It's 14-0, and we ain't even ran a play yet.
No one's comfortable in their seats yet.
No, and, so we had to battle back, and we tied, and they'd go back and forth, and we just could never get to where we could get them out of what they do. And as long as Wagner can sit and do what they do,
run that ball,
it makes it difficult.
And then that play action works so well out of
it
that.
It does.
That got you a couple of times.
They did.
But
when you know they're going to throw it, it's way better.
Right.
But as long as they can do what they do, you've got to stop the run.
You were putting 14 guys in the box to stop the run.
As many as I could. Yeah.
So that was a fun game for the viewer.
Right.
I'm sure as a coach it wasn't near as much fun. But when I talk about a stifling defense that you're known for,
right.
I had to bring up give up 53. Even the best defenses give up a game every now and then. But
right.
you're known for that defense.
Right.
Are you going to be known for that again this year?
That's
what
tough
guys
that's what
back.
we're going to hang our hat on. We lost 9 starters on defense.
Wow.
From that district championship team. Our starting defensive end, who was an all-district player, who had a couple sacks versus Westlake, played his tail off versus Westlake. He gets hurt first quarter of week 2, second ball game, and we lose him for the season. So we basically had 10 returners. The only kid I had out there that was a returner that played was my safety. Everybody else was new to varsity, new to everything. It was not the time not to have spring football. If COVID would have hit us the year before when I had all them dudes back, I wouldn't have lost. I wouldn't even lost sleep. But we had to replace those guys, and they fought. And the positive is, majority of all those kids are back.
Nice.
So we feel really good about that. So I like what I see on defense. I really do. We're making some changes. We've moved some guys from offense to even come help us fill a couple of spots we had to fill defensively.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to be able to get back to stopping people, and offense is offense, and Coach Mulder does a great job offensively getting us going scheme wise, and Coach Nagel on the defensive side does a tremendous job. But we had to make sure our defense is sound, and I think having those guys back. From last year's team that played hard, that never really gave up and quit. And, I give credit to my kids and my coaches. We lose to Judson by 6, and we had the ball at the 1-yard line and fumbled, didn't score. We lose to Steele by 7, had the ball at the end, didn't score. And then we lose to Wagner in overtime by 1.
Yeah.
We're out. Mathematically, we're out. We still got to play New Braunfels. All they got to do is beat us through in, and we got to play East Central. And it's and we go to New Braunfels, which is hard as heck to do,
right.
And we beat them. And then we got here. I'm thinking, okay, we got Thanksgiving. Everybody's off of the break. We're out of the playoff hunt. All those kids are there every single day for practice.
Wow.
And we end up playing and winning that last ball game as well. So
that's the program you've built, though.
Well,
really,
yeah.
Think about it. Those kids are bought in.
Right, and so it's going to help them this year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing our defense. Got some young kids, got some sophomore kids that I'm not going to throw their names out there yet just because they haven't earned it. But I got a couple sophomores that got a chance to be very special. Got a chance to go and play on Saturdays and sign some pretty good scholarships.
Well, we are absolutely looking forward to carrying all your games on the Big Game Coverage app.
Yes, sir.
And on KSAT TV's television app. And we start off the season. We just had Blake Peterson here before. I was thinking that's why you didn't want to get nose to nose with him or anything. But Madison versus Clemens will kick off our TV coverage this year on MeTV with again on the Big Game Coverage app, and so I think that's an incredibly good matchup. Two traditional teams to deep alumni bases going at it on TV.
Every game's been good. Every game versus Madison's been a good game, and so we're really looking forward to it. And, that's the first one. Then we got to turn around and play Brennan, and then we got to drive 5.5 hours down to San Benito and play down there. So that's going to be.
Can we throw our cameras on your bus?
Come
and
on.
You guys,
I'm
San Benito's a haul.
I'll tell you what, but I know what kind of atmosphere it's going to be, and I expect it to be identical to. We went to Copper's Cove a couple years ago, and they came to me before and asked me, "Hey, we're sold out on the home side. Can we put people on the visitors? Because y'all ain't got very many. We have a ton of room over there." I said, "Yeah, go ahead." And I remember my coaches looking at me going, "What are we doing?" I said, "I want this place to be surrounded." I said, "I want us to feel it, because in order to we got to go to Smith and Valley this year, which is a tough place, and you play Judson and you play Steele and you play New Braunfels and East Central, and we got to go to South San. I mean, you start thinking about Wagner. Yeah. We are at Wagner on TV on that one as well, and so. I want this atmosphere. I want it to be as difficult as it can be, so we can get tested,
learn it,
and so we can move forward.
No white eyes.
No. It's we get to we'll head down there. We'll leave in the morning and find somewhere halfway between and get out and stretch. And Coach Linoff went down there this summer. He took a couple of days to go fishing, and he sent me a text and he said, "I've only stopped once. I just passed San Benito and I've been in the truck for 4.5 hours." I was like, "Oh my God!"
Now a bus.
Yeah, not even a bus.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. Enjoy the show.
I will.
You guys missed out on this last year, so really enjoy it.
It's a great thing, and thank you for what y'all do for kids.
That's what we love it. We have a passion for it like you do. I just can't teach them like you can.
I don't know about that.
I'll put you on camera sometime and let you let you do color.
All right.
We'll be back with more from the Texas High School Coaches Association Convention and School. I'm Jay Riley. You're watching on TexasSportsProductions.com.